Today we're gonna look back. I know, like, end of year content, you're probably over it by now, but I just wanted to kind of think about things that I skipped on the second half of last year or towards the end of last year. Releases that I talked about in my new makeup releases, things that I had full intentions, or at least I was interested in buying. I skipped on them. Do I regret it? Am I having FOMO? Or have I completely forgotten about some of these products, which, spoiler alert, I did. Hello and welcome if you are new here. My name is Rachel, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. Let's take a trip down memory lane and talk about things that I skipped on. Everything that is on my face will be down below in the description box. Look at this red lip. I'm into it, and there's nothing like a high ponytail to make you feel like you got a facelift. So the first thing I want to talk about, it kind of pains me. It kind of pains me because I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm absolutely having FOMO. I absolutely regret not purchasing it. It is the Bella Beauté Bar Best Mattes eyeshadow palette. So I discovered Bella Beauté Bar last year. I bought one of their palettes at the beginning of the year. I thought it was good. I bought one of their palettes at the end of the year, and I was blown away by how much they had improved, especially their matte formula. I bought the recently de-influenced palette, and I love that palette, especially the mattes. Honestly, like, they're so buttery, blendable. Some of my favorite mattes in my collection, and I did end up placing an order on Black Friday on their website for a few more palettes, and I wanted to include this palette in my order, but I think I just was like, 3 palettes is enough, girl. Slow your roll. And I wish I had purchased this one. And now it's sold out, and I'm wondering if it's not coming back because it was a collaboration with 2 creators. It is a palette of all mattes, which, like I just said, from the brand, I love their mattes. I love their mattes so much. And I've mentioned this on my channel before a couple times that I really enjoy their formula, and I wanted to pick this up, and should I? And so many people commented saying, yes, it's worth it. Now I don't know if I can. So this is definitely one that I regret not picking up, and if it does come back in stock, I will place an order. Maybe the next time they come out with something new, I'll throw this into my cart. I don't know. I'm a little worried it's not coming back. But at the end of the day, do I have really good mattes in my collection? Yes. I have the Blend Bunny Blends palette that a lot of these shades, or like my entire Blend Bunny collection in general, I could dupe out probably a lot of these shades anyway, but it's definitely one that I think about. Let's talk about one I absolutely do not have FOMO over. I do not regret skipping on it. It is the Too Faced Cosmic Crush High Pigment Eyeshadow Palette. I heard mostly really bad reviews on this palette, and I was really excited because I had tried their Italian Spritz palette during the summertime, and I was really impressed with the quality. It was my first Too Faced palette that I ever purchased myself. I did receive one as a gift a few years ago, and it was in the tin packaging. It was one of their holiday palettes, and I liked it. I thought it was a good palette, so I wanted to try out the Italian Spritz palette. I enjoyed it, and then when I saw this palette coming out, I thought it was really pretty. It's basically a neutral palette with a couple of pops of purple. It's right up my alley. I really enjoy neutrals, and I was hoping it would be kind of the similar or same formula as the Italian Spritz, but I heard so many bad reviews on this, and I think I skipped on it just because at the time, I had so many eyeshadow palettes coming in, or so many eyeshadow palettes that I was testing, and that's going to be the case for a lot of these, by the way. I'm so glad I didn't get it because I didn't hear good things about it. I absolutely don't need it in my collection. It's not something that is very unique. Let's be real. A neutral palette with a couple of pops of purple. They're a dime a dozen, and because the quality didn't get great reviews from a lot of people, at least that I follow, I'm glad I skipped on it. Now, of course, let me know your thoughts on any of these things that I'm talking about. If you picked them up, let me know your experience with them. I would really love to know. I'm not saying everybody hated this palette, but I'm just saying at least the people that I follow, many of them gave not great reviews on it. And this was one that I actually had forgotten about until I looked up my new makeup releases, like when I was looking back. So I'm good. The next product I want to talk about is the Dose of Colors Glass Petal Top Coat Lip Oil. I remember talking about this in a new makeup releases. I remember seeing the picture on Instagram and being like, wow, that's really pretty with like the petals inside. Like, are they floating or is it just a sticker on the outside? I will never know because I'm not planning on picking this up. I don't regret skipping on it. I acquired so many lip oils this year. I mean, every brand was coming out with a lip oil, and there are so many great lip oils that I don't feel like I absolutely need this, but I was intrigued by it. I have really enjoyed Dose of Colors lip products in the past. They are something that I enjoy, but did I need this? Absolutely not. And I'm gonna tell you, like, looking at this picture, looking at the doe foot, it's one of these little skinny doe foots. That's not my favorite lip oil applicator. Like, I prefer a big fat daddy doe foot applicator. You know what I'm talking about, right? So, I mean, that's something that's like not my favorite. And it's a $22 lip oil. I don't really need it in my collection. I was intrigued by it, but I did kind of forget that it existed. And it's not something I think about a lot, but let me know if you tried this lip oil. The other thing is, I didn't see anybody, at least that I can recall, any of the people that I watch or follow or subscribe to, I didn't see anybody review this. So I have absolutely no idea like how it is, like how the formula is, what does it smell like. I know that on their website, it only has a few reviews, but the average review is like a 5-star review. So I'm guessing it was pretty good, but I don't know. Let me know if you've used it or if you know any like makeup reviewers that have reviewed it. I would love to know. But I'm good with this. I don't need it. I have so many lip oils that I love in my collection. Okay, this is one that, what is it with, well, I mean, I know what it is. I love matte eyeshadows. I'm a matte girly more than I am a shimmer girly. Let me know if you are more of a shimmer person or a matte person. Like, let me know which one is like, get your juices flowing, you know, or like get you going. Let me know, because I'll tell you, I am a matte lover. Like, I love matte shadows. I love a good matte shadow, and I really do like an all matte palette. So this palette that I wanted to talk about is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 3 matte eyeshadow palette. Again, I can't say that I saw a ton of reviews on this palette, but the ones that I did see were very positive. Not surprised. I do own the other 2 Patrick Ta palettes that he's released over the past couple of years, and the mattes were spectacular. Blendable, pigmented, buttery, easy to use. So I wasn't surprised that this got such rave reviews. I skipped on it just because, again, I think at the time I had a lot of things that I was reviewing, and adding a $70 palette to a drawer full of palettes that I would reach for it not very often at the moment. I wasn't really crazy about that idea, but this is one that I could possibly go back and get it, especially if it goes on sale, which his stuff doesn't really go on sale. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this. I do love me an all matte palette, and it's all neutral mattes. And I do really enjoy his formula. This is one that I think about. I don't know that I'm having FOMO necessarily, but I am definitely contemplating it. It does have on Sephora at the moment of filming 332 reviews at almost a 5-star. Like, there's like maybe one little triangle of the star is not colored in, so I guess it might be like a 3.8 or something. She's a beauty. It's one that I would consider for the future. Okay, the next one that I want to talk about is the Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge eyeshadow palette. This is also another pricier palette from Sephora, or like a Sephora brand. And I have only ever owned one Huda Beauty palette in the past. It was one of her large palettes for holiday, which this one is as well. I bought the Rose Quartz palette, and I love that palette. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Not even just, like, I could say it's beautiful for a mainstream palette. Like, it's just beautiful in general. Particularly the shimmers are just ultra twinkly, ultra sparkly, so beautiful. So I have not bought another eyeshadow palette since, obviously, like I just said. And this one looks really pretty. It is more of a neutral palette that is, quote, cool toned, but it's not like grays. There are still like some browns. There are a couple of warm tones in there. It goes light to deep. It looks really pretty. I did not watch anybody's review on this. And I know I had seen like popped up a couple of reviews, but I personally didn't even see any. I didn't watch any for whatever reason. So I don't know like what the consensus is. Let me know if you know. It does have 230 reviews on Sephora at a 4-star. So there might be some people that didn't enjoy it, but if it is the same formula as the Rose Quartz, I'm sure I would enjoy the formula because I love the formula of that palette. And the color story of this does call to me. But again, at the time, it was holiday. I was swamped with like end of year content, getting stuff up. I had a bunch of stuff that I was trying to finish up for my palette ranking for the end of the year, which I can link down below if you want to know like all the palettes I did try last year. I tried a lot and I ranked them all, so I can link that down below. This is one that I'm kind of just neutral about. I don't really care to go out and buy it. I don't really feel like I'm happy I skipped on it necessarily, but I'm just like, I mean, if it showed up on my doorstep randomly, I wouldn't be mad about it, but I also would be checking my bank account to make sure I didn't pay for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see myself purchasing this in the future unless it was like on super sale and it was the right time. All right, next I want to talk about the ColourPop Instant Crush Cream Blushes. So these are their cream blushes that they came out with, I believe kind of like the fall time or like early winter of 2023. And I love me a cream blush. Okay, I'm always down for a cream blush. I'm always down to give them a shot, to add them to my collection. Do I need any more? Absolutely not. But I really enjoy ColourPop and I really enjoy cream blushes. So I thought this was a perfect marriage of my loves. Now, I was added to ColourPop's PR list late summer of 2023, and I was kind of selfishly hoping that they would send these to me in PR. When I didn't get them in PR, the ship had sailed. The ship had sailed, and I was like, I don't really need to add these to my collection. And then I also started seeing people's reviews, and people's reviews were saying that these were a little bit sheer, a little bit more of like a dewy look to the cheek, which both of those things combined are not my favorite. I want a blush that is buildable. I don't like sheer blushes, and I don't like a super dewy cheek. So I'm kind of glad that I skipped on these. Of course, let me know your experience with them if you've used them before. I have oily skin, so if you have oily skin and you've used these cream blushes, let me know your thoughts. But again, it's one of those things like I'm not really upset that I didn't buy them, but if they were on super sale, no, I take it back. I don't need them. I have so many good cream blushes in my collection, I don't need them. If they come out with a collection in the future and I get it in PR, of course I'm gonna test it out and give it a shot and like be open-minded about it, but I don't need to go out of my way to buy them. All right, the next two collections they were released together that I want to talk about were the Glamlight and Hershey's collab. So this was a time where Glamlight was releasing collection after collection after collection after, and it's hard to keep up. It's hard to keep up, or it was hard to keep up with them towards the end of last year, and their shipping is very slow. So it's one of those things like I have to be choosy about what I buy from them because I know that when I get it, I'm not gonna get it for probably 6 weeks. And do I upload a video using this stuff after 6 weeks? Is anybody gonna care? Especially because people that receive PR from Glamlight, they get it pretty early, so people will have already watched reviews. Anyway, all I'm saying is this was one of those like kind of out of nowhere releases from them while they were launching all of their horror stuff. I believe it was around that time that I was just like, I ordered all the horror collabs, so I'm good. I don't need another Glamlight collab right now. Are people gonna care by the time I get it? But I will say that the milk chocolate one in particular, really stunning. It's a neutral palette, which like I said, I love me a neutral palette. It looks like it goes from light to deep, and I did watch reviews on these collections, and from what I could see, people really enjoyed these collections. I like Glamlight's eyeshadow formula a lot. I also like their highlighter formulas a lot, but I will say this from the milk chocolate collection, they're like they're calling it like a bronzer duo, but it was a very, very shimmery highlighter-like duo. So that probably wouldn't work for me and my skin tone and my preferences. The lip kit looks pretty, but like, I don't really need that. Like looking at it deeper, it's a little deep for me. And then the Hershey's Cookies and Cream, that was my favorite candy growing up. Like just looking at the candy, I'm like transported back to when I was a kid, like looking at this. So there's a little nostalgia, but realistically looking at this eyeshadow palette, it is not up my alley. It's blue, it's cool toned. Those are two things that I don't prefer. So I didn't need it. I don't need it. I don't have FOMO about it. Even though I know that a lot of people enjoyed it, I can like just admire it from afar. You know what I mean? So I'm good. The next thing I want to talk about is the ColourPop Rock On Shadow Palette. So again, this is kind of the same idea as like, I was on the PR list. I was wondering if I was going to get it in PR. I feel like there are some things that ColourPop only sends out to the top tier people and they don't send it to anybody else. But I did see like a handful of people here and there getting this palette, and I was like, this palette is right up my alley. It's a 9-pan palette of warm neutrals, and it looks so beautiful, so yummy, light to deep. I would really enjoy this, and I I skipped on it, A, because I was waiting to see if I was gonna get it, but also because I had not too far along before this had purchased the big mega palette, the Smoke and Hot palette, which honestly, like, I could probably dupe out all 9 of those shades in that palette. Now, granted, this is a 9 pan, it would be easier to travel with. I mean, it's more condensed, which I like more than a giant palette, but I really don't need this palette. So again, the ship had sailed. I was like, I don't need this. I kind of came to my senses. It's nice when that happens, right? Do I have FOMO? Not really. Like, it's pretty. Again, I feel the same way about this as the Pretty Grunge, where it's like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to get it, but like if it showed up on my doorstep, I would not be mad about it. I would get use out of it for sure. It is a really pretty palette, but I'm good. All right, the next one is an interesting one. I've never bought anything from Oma Beauty. I've bought a lot of things from Oma Beauty by Sharon C, which is the drugstore sister brand to Oma Beauty, and I really enjoy the products I've tried from the brand. And so they released some things at Ulta, the main company, Oma Beauty, the more like mid-priced brand. So they had released bronzers, highlighters, and I believe blushes. I don't think I was not interested in the blushes because they were like very shimmery blushes, which is just not my jam. But they did release matte bronzers as well as highlighters, and I really wanted to try them out. I had them in my cart, and I just never pulled the trigger. With me, with Ulta, I feel like I only order from them when I have a full cart of stuff. So I kind of slowly add things to the cart, and I just never really built a cart enough to like really feel to pull the trigger, especially if things are full price. I have to really, really want something to place the order. So I've noticed though, and I saw someone post, I think it was on Instagram, saying that, I don't know what's going on with Oma Beauty, but like their website is down. Like it says that it's not available anymore, or like, I don't know, their website is not up anymore. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the brand. I don't know if they are shutting down. I don't know if they are rebranding. I don't know. I'm curious to know. But yeah, let me know your experience with these Oma Beauty products if you bought them. These were another set of products that I forgot about. Like I totally forgot about. When I looked back, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did want to try those. But especially with cheek products, I don't buy as many as like eyeshadow palettes, right? Like I'm constantly reviewing several eyeshadow palettes at a time, where like if I find a bronzer I really like, I use the crap out of it. So I don't feel the need to go out and buy like 10 bronzers. So I'm good. I think I'm good. But let me know your experience if you tried them. The last collection I want to talk about is one that I absolutely had full intentions of purchasing. It's the Makeup Revolution and Grease collection. So I love the movie Grease. It's one of my favorite movies. Growing up, I watched it on repeat. I knew all the choreography. I knew all the songs. I loved the movie. I still love the movie. So when I saw they were doing a collection with Makeup Revolution, I was very excited about it. But I feel like with Makeup Revolution, I get excited about their collections and then I kind of forget about them. It's just not a brand that I'm like super into. It's not a brand that I'm constantly thinking about. And I think at the time I tried to go on their website to order, and I was not at the right time. I was a little early, so nothing was available. And then I went about my day and forgot about it. But I will say I went to Walgreens in store a couple of weeks ago, and the products were in my Walgreens, which is interesting because I live in a pretty rural area and I don't get a lot of new release. Well, it's not new. It's not new. It's been out for a long time. So there you go. I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. And looking at the products in person, I didn't really feel the need to pick anything up. I was like, oh, I mean, it's cute, but like, I'm kind of in a place where even if I love the IP, if the brand isn't a brand that I love and trust and know, sometimes I just kind of don't care anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be different for me. Like if it was an IP I loved, I bought it no matter what. Like I bought the Profusion and Mean Girls collab because I love Mean Girls. I could take or leave Profusion products. I don't really feel the need to pick anything up. I don't have FOMO about it at all whatsoever. I'm good, but let me know if you picked up products from this collection and let me know the quality. I would love to know. Oh, and I also remember now, I'm remembering, the other reason I wanted to pick it up is because I wanted to see if they had adopted BH Cosmetics eyeshadow formula, because Makeup Revolution bought BH Cosmetics. And I actually ended up waiting and watching Angelica Nyqvist's review of one of the palettes, and her conclusion was it wasn't the BH Cosmetics formula. So I was kind of like, well then I'm good. That was one of the main reasons I wanted to buy it. So I'm not that mad about it. All right, and that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me your comments down below, either letting me know your experience with any of the products that I picked up. Should I have FOMO about them? Or is it good that I passed on them? And or leave me a comment about any products that you skipped on. Are you having FOMO about any of them? Or are there products that you skipped on that you're glad you skipped on because after watching reviews, it definitely would not have worked for you? Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments because I love hearing from you. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps me out a lot when you do that. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before you leave. I do upload videos weekly and I'd love to see you back on my channel again. I want to thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.